Hey there, YouTube. It's Joe. It is Friday, April 2nd, and I am sick. I've been sick for a week. I have bronchitis, and I'm on prednisone and antibiotics and all this. Anyway, I'm in my sunny living room. It's about 22 degrees outside today in April. It's bizarre. I don't know why it's so warm out. Some would say global warming, I'm sure. Today's video, and then please excuse my voice, I'm really sorry, and my hacking. Today's video is going to be about, I guess, hope and faith and things like that from a non-theist perspective, or someone who is not religious or fallen away Christian or whatever, however you want to put it. So as I've said in previous videos, that I don't define myself as religious or I don't consider myself an atheist, but I don't consider myself a theist. So if I had to pick a god or a religion, or if I had to say what it is that I believe in, fundamentally it boils down to astrology, which is just that we are all part of a greater, bigger thing, and that astrology is a bit of a tool to point you in the direction that you need to go personally, because everybody's different. Not everybody needs to go in the same direction. So we don't all need to abide by the same 10 commandments to achieve the same heaven, blah, blah, blah. So whatever I need to achieve in this lifetime will come about as me being born in this body, with this personality, with these trials and tribulations, and I believe that that's what I need to get through this lifetime. So faith is something that I always had a lot of as a child and as a youngster, religiously. Christian faith that Jesus would save me, and this and that and the other. And I always had a lot of hope too. I always believed things were going to be okay. And years later, after I lost the religion, I remember thinking that a lot of that probably boils down to birth order. And there is this phenomenon. I'm a youngest child, and my mother is the youngest child, so I'm the youngest child of a youngest child. And we both tend to be like kind of eternal Pollyannas, my mom and me. And we believe that life's going to be okay. You know, no matter what, when you're a baby and you're crying and you're the youngest, usually there's a sibling or two or three or four, a parent or two, a grandparent or two, you know, at the ready to pick you up. And I think it gives you a sense of trust in the universe, that things are going to be okay. My sister, for example, who is the oldest child, you know, there were times she cried, I'm sure, when she was a baby. And, you know, somebody was terrified, tentatively picked her up because they didn't know how. They thought they were going to break her because she was new and no one knew how to, you know, maybe they didn't know how to deal with a baby. I'm sure there were elements of that. So I think it's birth order personally, but like I said, I was born with a lot of natural faith in the universe. You know, in my younger years, I called it faith in God. As years went on, I started to call it just faith in the universe, faith in the divine. And then in my 20s, I discovered a book called The Artist's Way, and it was about reclaiming your inner artist. And one of the things she talks about is that religion or God concepts usually really curb an artist's enthusiasm, or tend to snuff out an artist's ability to create art. And so she has a lot of different mottos and little positive reinforcements that you can say. And the one that I grasped onto when I was about 28, which incidentally is a Saturn year, astrologically, that was a big year for me, was, and I remember I made it on a mug. So I went to a ceramic mug painting class and I painted it on the mug, but it's since broke. The phrase was, there is a divine plan of goodness for me. And what that did, again, it took God out of the equation, but it implied that something, somewhere, there's a divine plan, and I'll call it nature, because in nature, things happen as they should. So rivers flow, weeds grow, crops grow, birds fly. I mean, things happen as they should in nature. There's not a lot that happens in nature that shouldn't, that is wrong. You know, mutations and stuff like that, cancer cells, whatever, of course. But I mean, on the whole, when you let things happen as they should, they do what they're supposed to do. And this was proven to me one year when I made I had my very first vegetable garden. It was a really bad year. I think it was the summer of 99. It was the summer of 99. And my then boyfriend and I had a bad year. I ended up moving out that fall, but we have fought all the time. And I remember just for something to do, I guess, to try and get along, we had this vegetable garden. And it was very, very rejuvenating for my spirit. And I remember not knowing anything, picking out spinach, cucumbers, and tomatoes, and planting approximately 20 or 30 of each. Now, if you've never had a garden, one cucumber plant will do you and your whole family and your whole neighborhood, and a couple of tomato plants should do you. To have 20 is, you're asking for bumper crops. I remember bringing like a full garbage bag, huge garbage bag of tomatoes down to the Good Shepherd food bank because I couldn't, I made as much tomato sauce as I could and I couldn't go through with it. Anyway, spinach was sort of, spinach is God. I'm going to use spinach as God analogy. That summer, spinach takes, by the way, I think about 48 days from seed to harvest. And that's only a month and a half. So in May, approximately, we planted these little seeds, and by a week they were this big, and 2 weeks they were this big. And you see these little sprouts and you think, wow, like that's really quite spectacular that this is what it's doing. You stick it outside, next thing you know, it's bigger than you can imagine. And if you blink and you forget to harvest it one day, and a couple days later you look back there, it's twice as big as it was before. And then it goes to seed, which means that these seeds, and by then it's edible, but it's not really that edible. And the seeds scatter, and next thing you know, more spinach grows, and there's like more spinach than you can handle. And you think that's what nature is. That's what's supposed to happen with spinach. It wants to sort of scatter its seed and be spinach and create more spinaches. And I remember being profoundly inspired by that. And I thought, my creativity is like spinach. It needs to just go everywhere. It needs to just be set free. It needs to go to seed. And that's got nothing to do with God or heaven or hell or Jesus or anything. It's just got to do with watching how when you let nature run its course, it runs wild. And I love that. I think that's very, very inspirational, and it gives me a lot of hope and a lot of faith that things happen as they should. Things grow when they are planted. Things bloom when they're planted. So what you need to do, in a sense, is plant your own garden, spiritual or otherwise. Know who you are and what you need to do. Not what you need to do. You want to kind of know where you're going, and astrology does help with that, to get an idea of where you're going. And then trust that it's just going to happen. That all you have to do is wait 48 days and the spinach will grow. I mean, you need water and sun and stuff, but those things are pretty basic. If your basic needs are met, you will flourish. So that's my philosophy for the day. Pardon my voice again. Hope you have a great one. Talk to you soon.